You're the CEO of your own company and you brand it after your last name. Family Incorporated. That was your brand. If you're going through divorce, your brand as a family man, that's just changed. And now you question everything, including your very own identity. Unfortunately, you're being told by the person that you swore to care for and love, and that you're now an outsider to her, that she no longer wants any part of Family Incorporated, but she's spinning off into her own corporation and she needs to leave you to find herself. Your brand is who you are, and if you're going through a divorce, it's changing, and it's changing as fast as you're watching this video. You're no longer that married guy, and I don't know about you, but when the shit hit the fan, I was so confused, primarily because I didn't realize just how clueless I had become. Clueless Incorporated. Today, you're going through the biggest obstacle in your adult life, and you can't and you shouldn't continue as the status quo. And if you don't see that this is a time for change, then you just lost an opportunity, and now you carry your very own red flag. It's said that adults, that we learn through massive trauma, and hell yeah, this is traumatic, and we don't seek out our painful experiences to make us who we are. That's not how things work. But it's usually from our painful experiences that we find our identity, and that's what defines us. All of us, we can endure some great pain if we knew that it was purposeful, and finding the why is going to be your mission. You're going through a divorce, guys, and you can either wallow and blame the world, or you can turn this into an opportunity for growth and grow your brand. But how do you build your own brand? Let's discuss. Let's start revving that engine. As a divorce and recovery coach, I hear so many guys questioning their identity. It's their number one concern after worrying about their kids and custodial arrangements. You're a working man with adult responsibility, a spouse, mortgage, kids, and you think that you're just cruising through life, but then your spouse, she says that she wants a divorce. Now, you not only have adult responsibilities, but you have some real adult problems, son. Problems that your parents may not have had to go through. And I often hear guys saying, that came out of nowhere. And about 90% of the time, there's some very strong warning signs that we overlooked. And if you feel that this came out of nowhere, then you definitely need to speak to a coach, because you're in deep danger of repeating the same mistakes. Perhaps she's done this before, or she doesn't look at you the same. She may be argumentative, always on social media, or perhaps only gives you the ever so emasculating pity fuck, leading you to feel dirty after sex. You want to feel closer to her, but instead, by busting a nut, you feel more alone. But now there's a lot of questions in us. Guys, we identify ourselves more as husband than women identify themselves as wife. And that's gotta sting. Not a little, but a crap load. Now you go through some serious turmoil because you thought you were a true family man, when in fact the unfortunate reality hits you that it was all just a mirage. So you begin to question who you are, and that's where I'd say you have to start to develop your personal brand. How you're perceived today and how you want others to perceive you in the future. But you gotta be specific. Saying that you want to be perceived like a good, gentle soul is not telling you much. Be specific and have something measurable. And ask around. I'm not kidding. Ask around. Ask people who you trust that will give you honest feedback. And say that the feedback's a gift and you want Christmas to come in early. Or for right now, as you're watching this, just pause it and think of how others perceive you, the good and the bad. Do they see you as an overachiever, or do you have that victim mentality, blaming others for your faults? Or hell, man, just make an appointment with me and I'll get you there. That's the first thing I do is give them honest feedback. That's where you need a coach. I can tell you this, that as I look at my initial videos, I'm very aware, painfully aware, that I come off as an arrogant prick. In hindsight, I think I was just overcompensating for being so new to this process. And that's why when people say that I come off like a dick, it doesn't upset me. I know I do, and I own up to it. It's something that I've worked on. But if you were to say to me that you don't give a crap what people think, then I have to call arrogance, ignorance, or laziness. And I got to challenge you here, because guess what? You, sir, you're single. And as a single guy, whether you want to just get laid or meet your future ex-wife, you need a good, positive brand. I've spoken about thin slicing in my prior videos, and it's a term in psychology where we make an immediate, almost impulsive decision just by looking at someone in a matter of less than a second. And in 2007, psychologist Dana Carney, not to be confused with Dana Carvey, she studied the effects of thin slicing amongst the different genders, both of them, and she concluded that women tend to have a more accurate judgment of men than men do. So when a female says to you that they don't judge, you challenge her and say, hey, ask her if they know what thin slicing is. I swear, women keep taking guys' names. Dana, Pat, Rene. What's next, Tony? But that's what I tell guys, that if you're trying to bang an 8 or higher on dating apps, it's going to get very difficult when your profile picture is generic. And remember that looks, that's only partially important, because image Image is really everything here.
Make it bigger than you, almost intangible, but still reachable. How do you want to come across to others? And keep that in mind. Now, the first one in the development of your brand is that it needs to be your North Star. In other words, it has to be centered around your principles, and you have to stay consistent. I'll give you an example. When I joined corporate America, I wanted my professional brand to be that of striving for excellence and control. Looking like a hard worker didn't matter to me, and in fact, I actually thought that it would only set me back. I wanted to look like someone that cares about results rather than someone that cares about punching the time clock in and out. I believed that if I focused on that, everything else would follow, and it did. I moved up the ranks and formed a solid foundation into who I was as a professional. But to get to that level, you're going to make some mistakes, and a lot of them, and some are really stupid ones. Early in my career, I had a meeting with a client, and as soon as I came in for an appointment, she said, "Mr. Garcia, I would have never guessed that you were a smoker. You look so well kept, but you reek a cigarette smell." This doctor, whose name I don't even remember, she changed my life. She gave me such brutal honesty that I knew I had to stop cigarettes. I didn't want the last thing my clients remembered about me to be my stench, so I stopped. Sort of. Switched to e-cigs, and I tell you this because you can use them anywhere. They're easier to hide, which means you can use them more often, so you smoke more. It wasn't until I made a video on cognitive dissonance that I realized that as my own brand, I had to practice what I preach. So that is when I truly stopped cold turkey. Next, you must be genuine. Remember how I tried to overcompensate and instead came off as arrogant? I worked on that, and today a common feedback is that I give a shit, and that's because I do. Just like my prior career, I care about results, and screw the rest. As a guy that has a background in sales, I look for a problem and see if I can find a solution. And if I can, I'm your man. But again, if I can't, you're definitely know it. Granted, in all candor, my ego does get hurt a little bit, but it's not my show, it's your show. And I refuse to go against my principles because of a bruised ego. Just last week during a one-on-one, after an hour and 30 minutes of a lengthy interview process, here's what happened.
Oh, look, man, I don't think you really need my help and guidance as far as coaching or anything. I think you're gonna do fine by yourself. But if you need anything, let me know.
Now, I do this in my prior career or in anyone, and being in sales, you get thrown out or you get written up. But this isn't the first time that I've done that. It's not my show here. It's your show. The catch-22 is when I feel strongly that a candidate needs my coaching, and I only have my word to go by, and they don't realize that I've said no before.
Being genuine, it's not just about telling truths and lies, neither. It's about doing things for the right reason. There's two types of guy. The guy that punches out at 5 o'clock and goes home, and then there's the other guy, the guy that stays and he doesn't get thrown off the fucking saddle. The guy that sees the big picture. When they make a 45-minute appointment, they don't know this, but it was rare occasions. I leave a very big window open between appointments because, well, they're gonna go over in time. I'm not running a manufacturing plant here, and these guys, they're just starting to get their creative juices going at the 45-minute mark, and I don't tell them like, hey, dude, time's up, make another appointment. As my mom would eloquently say, finish the job, son. And it's true, these guys, it's awesome, and I like to think of myself, these guys didn't pay to speak with me for 45 minutes. They paid for results. It's the bigger picture that drives you. The appointments, they're not for the time, they're for the results, and that's part of my brand now, and I'd be an asshole to take that for granted and to take them for granted. When establishing your brand, it's about loyalty. It's about doing it for the right reason. It's about something that's bigger than you until it becomes you. Number 3 is to make people feel like they're part of something special. Remember that every room that you go into, it's better because, well, you're in there, and we all need something to go home to. Be that home to those that you meet, even if they're not in your inner circle. Leave them remembering you. Leave them feeling good about themselves. 4 is to follow an example and make it your own. Even Apple, they got their user interface from Xerox, and then Microsoft took it from Apple, and Apple cried foul. But there's nothing wrong with choosing someone else's style as long as you make it your own and put some hubris behind it. Now this last one it's my favorite because it's what keeps me hungry. It's what keeps me on top of ship. What keeps me up to date, knowledgeable, and most of all, it's what keeps me confident. And that's to live your brand. For instance, if you could describe my brand to someone, it's probably that I keep it real, one of success, one of a guy who a few years ago got his ass kicked and had at the top of mind to prepare for the worst by giving meaning to what was genuinely a fucked up situation. One that a guy could have given up and become resentful towards women, be the victim of all sorts of things. But instead, when the shit hit the fan, he just laughed. He did his homework and he held himself accountable and reinvented himself into someone that he genuinely likes.
You know how many times I just want to talk myself out of doing something like working out, but I don't, because it's ingrained in my head that it's in my brand. And you know that this is really how I do dress when I'm home. For any of my videos, I don't dress differently unless it's a style piece, and even then, it's not a stretch on how I dress.
Wake up at 4:30 usually in the morning and do my morning routine, shower regularly with cold showers, just increases my energy and good on the skin. Meditate 15 minutes daily, and I guess what I'm saying is that if you're the brand, you have to get your hands dirty.
In the words of social psychology, Amy Cuddy, don't just fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it. Fake it till you're the establishment. I'll leave the link of her TED Talk on the description section underneath. It was the first one that I saw about 12 years ago, and it's what got me into the self-growth process. You know, and what I do, I hear a lot about imposter syndrome, the idea that we have to have a perfect life in order to be a coach, and I wasn't aware of it until I got into this industry. And there's a lot of guys like Jose Zuniga, like Costa, and these are leaders in fashion, and they make it look easy, real easy, and that's their brand. But I can guarantee you that there's a lot of work, thought, and even self-doubt that goes on within them, and that doesn't make them less. If anything, it makes them more. What you don't see is the Friday or Saturday night recording sessions, the loneliness, and even dizziness that I get being in what's literally a green room. How I lose myself for 12 hours and forget to eat.
The frustration I get as I fall behind, or the guilt that I feel as I give neither my boys nor my significant other the time that they deserve. Being the last parent to pick up my son for the umpteenth day straight because I got the time management thing all wrong. It happens. Making a living in a virtual world, it gets disorienting. There is some truth, a lot of truth to the addictiveness nature that we get from social media. And that's why I just cannot compromise my brand, because it keeps me honest. It keeps me sane. This is especially true when my world was falling apart. Fitness, meditating, style, and having the integrity to keep true to myself, true to my brand, or to my North Star, as I refer to it. It gives me the confidence, clarity, and dare I say, the hubris to stay in the course.
So to you, I ask, what is your brand? You're single now. You have a clean canvas to paint your picture. You're a dad, but don't make that your center, because that shit gets old, and we're all parents. Plus, when guys say that they're doing it for their kids, it just comes off as obligatory. You want to do something for your children? Start with building yourself up. So work on yourself. Be better, grow, read. But more important than reading is writing it. Then more important than writing is acting upon it. And once you've acted upon it, keep doing it until you become it. Fulfill your dream. And gents, if you don't know how, you can start by joining your free and confidential Facebook group and setting up a one-on-one. The link is in the comment section underneath. Click on that. Real easy. I'll help you get started. While you're at it, you've been listening to my ass for what, 14, 15 minutes now? Means that I must have made some kind of sense. You can help do your part in helping other men find this channel just by pressing like and commenting on what you feel your brand means to you and what you would like it to be. And it also helps if you subscribe. Press the subscribe button, because you owe it to yourself to watch, or not just watch, but also study this material. Thank you very much.
Well, I focus on that, and everything else I followed up to it, but I've formed a solid foundation into who I was as a professional. I look like I'm reading, man. Crap. Way too aware of that, and shit. Yes. So when a girl says that they don't judge, what am I trying to say here? Shit. Attention that they deserve. They deserve. What was that all about? My voice.